At 10, a courtroom full of tears. Tears from the victim's family and from the accused.
It's the case of a local woman who killed her fiance on their wedding day. Nacola Franklin now gets life in prison.
Literally just hours before she's set to walk down the aisle in a designer wedding dress, the bride not posing, surrounded by her bridesmaids for the wedding photos. She's posing with the jailhouse sheriff in a mugshot after she allegedly sentenced her groom to death practically en route to the wedding.
And welcome back, my fellow true crime family. I am the mysterious Black Bandit, and it is an honor to be your #1 guide on this journey through the most perplexing and mystifying cases on YouTube. Now, I know that the people that we love know how to press our buttons sometimes. But have you ever been in a situation where you have been so mad that you wanted to stab that person? Well, in today's video, we'll be talking about a woman that got so upset that she took her soon-to-be husband's life. And after you've watched this video, let me know down in the comment what your mate has done to press your buttons. But don't get in trouble, okay? Before we get started, go ahead and do your boy a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Then, once you've done that, we can jump into this video. Nacola Franklin, who was a preschool teacher, first met Billy Brewster in the year 2009 in California, which was her hometown. Billy was originally from New York, but he drove trucks, so he was always on the road. At the time they met, he had a teenage son who stayed with him because his mother had become ill and passed away. Now, Nacola also had a son of her own from a previous relationship, and one of her nieces had moved in with her, so she was basically her child. Over the years and spending so much time with one another, Nacola and Billy soon fell in love and she became pregnant with their first child. Then in June of 2010, Billy received a job offer that was just too good to refuse, so they decided to pick up and move to Pennsylvania to a Whitehall Township apartment. Now, Billy was known as an easygoing, hardworking, and family-oriented person. He worked 6 days a week, 12 hours per day, just to make sure his family was well taken care of. It was stated that he even planned to adopt his girlfriend's child and her niece at one point in time. By December of the same year, Billy figured out that Nacola was the woman that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with, so he set up this nice and romantic dinner, and by the end of the night, he got on that knee and proposed to Nacola. The very next day, Nacola was so excited that she calls her family and friends and lets them know that she's about to be a married woman, but they didn't have the exact date. So after having a discussion on which day would be the best day for them, they decided that August 11, 2012 would be the perfect date for them to get married. Now, of course, Nacola wanted everything to be perfect, so she started early trying to prepare for this special day because planning a wedding isn't easy. She had to send out wedding invitations and wait on people to respond so she could get a head count, choose a wedding theme, find an available venue, and so forth. Now, August 10th, 2012, which was the day before the wedding, Nacola's nerves were just about shot. At the time, they only had one car, so she had to drive Billy to work at 6 p.m. the night before and pick him up that morning at 6 a.m. Then she had to make sure the 4 children, which included a 9-month-old, was all taken care of, and this was on top of making sure everything was set for the wedding. So her frustrations and anxiety was through the roof. Now, that afternoon, Billy's cousin Nakia and his wife Monique Callie, who had flew in the night before from Chicago, Illinois, had just arrived at their apartment. So Nacola left the 3 boys with the men while she, Monique, and her mother took her niece to go shopping for a dress. Once they found the dress, Nacola went ahead and got her makeup and nails done, then ran and did some last-minute errands. When they finally made it back, Billy told his cousin and his wife to go ahead and get ready so he could take them out to show them a good time. Plus, it was his last night before getting married, so he wanted to enjoy himself as well. Around 9 p.m. that night, Billy and his family had stopped at a club to have a few drinks and enjoy the entertainment for a while. Then later on that night, they left the club and was headed to go grab something to eat, but Monique's head started hurting, so they just went straight back to the apartment. Once they made it back, Billy walks in and noticed Nacola and the kids were still up, so he asked them, "What y'all want to eat?" Nacola, who hadn't been asleep for days, randomly starts arguing with Billy about how their wedding was in a few hours and why he would stay out so late. This goes on for several minutes until Billy tells her to come into the room so they didn't have to argue in front of the company. So they go into the back room and shut the door, and all you could hear was them screaming and cursing each other out. Now, shortly afterwards, the door busts open and Nacola runs out and grabs the phone to call 911. Once the dispatcher answered, Nacola must have forgot that she had called because all she was doing was arguing back and forth with Billy the whole time. Not wanting to deal with all the bickering, Billy grabs the 9-month-old and walks towards the door as if he was going to leave. Then all of a sudden, Nacola yells to her son, "Give me the knife! Give me the knife!" By this time, everyone was in the front room trying to calm down the situation. Now, as Nacola was just standing there with a knife in one hand and the phone in the other, she repeatedly tells Billy to put the baby down. Apparently, she could smell the alcohol in his breath and didn't want him to leave with her child while he was intoxicated. She then yells again, "Put my freaking baby down," and threatens him by saying, "You know I'll swing at your dumb behind." This is when the cousin, tried to diffuse the altercation by separating the two and telling Nacola, "You don't want to do this," and put the knife down. Then India, who is Nacola's niece, grabs the baby and walks into the back room to get him away from all the loud noise. Now, once all the kids were out of the scene, Nakia continues to try to calm Nacola down by telling her, "Let me take Billy outside the apartment so everyone can relax and hopefully resolve the issue in the morning before the wedding." But by this time, Nacola was out of her mind. She starts screaming and threatening to Nakia with the knife if he didn't get out the way. Now, the whole time, Billy keeps repeating to her, "Is this really what you want to do?" This pisses Nakia off. She directs her attention back to Billy and says, "You want a freaking knife." At this point, Nakia realizes how serious this situation was, so he yells at Billy, who was just standing there with his hands up, "Get out!" Then he turns and tries to push Billy towards the door, and all of a sudden, Nacola lunges at Billy with the knife, stabbing him several times. Nakia then brushes Nacola to the side and then grabs Billy and takes him outside to the landing of the stairwell, where he noticed how bad Billy was bleeding from his chest, so he yells to India to get him a towel. Meanwhile, on the inside of the house, Monique had tackled Nacola to the ground while trying to get the knife away from her. Then moments later, Nakia comes back inside to help pry the knife out of her hand, and once he got it, he threw it over to the side and told India to get it and hide it. Now, once the situation had kind of died down, Nacola, who was on the ground, gets up and runs over to the phone to call 911 again, then tells them that her boyfriend beat her up and tried to steal the baby. She also tells them to send an ambulance because she had Billy because he was trying to take the baby. Around 2:15 a.m., the police finally arrived, and as they walked up the stairs, one of the officers called up to Billy, who was just lying on the steps unconscious and hardly breathing, then asked if he was okay. But as the officer got closer, he notices all the blood Billy was losing, so he tries his best to stop it until the ambulance arrived. Now, once the paramedics got there, they rushed Billy to a nearby hospital to try to resuscitate him, but by this time, there was nothing they could do. Billy had been stabbed in the heart and the abdomen and was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, back at the apartment, the officer had went in to get everyone's statement, and when he walked in, Monique was seated on the couch with Nacola, who looked visibly upset. The officer stated that besides the kitchen cabinet being open and the blood on the floor, there wasn't any signs of struggle, but with Billy being to death, Nacola Franklin was arrested and charged with criminal homicide in her fiance's death and had to be held in jail without bond until her court date. On May 20th, 2013, 32-year-old Nacola Franklin's trial was underway for the murder of Billy Rafael Brewster, and instead of her taking the plea deal, which would have sent her to prison for 13 to 40 years, her and her defense team rejected the deal to push for the battered woman syndrome. Nacola claimed that she Billy in self-defense because he was drunk and started to verbally and physically assault her, in addition to trying to leave with their 9-month-old son. She testified that Billy has always been a jealous man, and the physical and mental abuse started when they first met in 2009. She stated that one day he thought that she was looking at another man and became so upset that he hit her in the back of the head and her, then threw her against the wall. Then she told the jury that when Billy first learned that she was pregnant with their child, he picked her up by her neck and threw her against the wall. During that time, she even sought help from law enforcement, but told them that her bruises came from falling down the stairs. But the only reason she told them that was because Billy was threatening to put her out the house. But on the other hand, she stated that she tried to leave several times, but every attempt, Billy and his mother would convince her to stay. Now, during the trial, Billy's autopsy was presented, and from what the examiner stated, his hands had defense wounds, suggesting that he had struggled and his blood alcohol level at the time of his death was at 0.13. Now, at first, everything seemed to be going in Nacola's favor, but when that 911 recorded call was presented, on top of her actually doing this, definitely worked against her weight of evidence argument. Each juror was given a transcript of the recording for purposes of reading along with the audio as it was played throughout the courtroom. Then on May 23rd, 2013, based on the undisputed evidence that Nacola the victim with a knife on a vital part of his body, the jury inferred Nacola had a specific intent to kill, and she was found guilty of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And that, my friends, will bring this shocking video to an end. And what do y'all think about this? Now, I know that wedding planning can be a mother lover, and sometimes the fiance can turn into bridezilla, but on this video, I think Nacola went just a bit too far. They stated that she didn't deny not stabbing Billy, but that she didn't intend to kill him. Plus, she was mentally and physically exhausted the night of the attack, stating she only had 20 minutes of sleep over a 3 to 4 day period prior to the wedding. Then she had to take care of 4 children, which included an infant who was teething. But stabbing a person shouldn't even cross your mind. All right, family, that will be it for today. I hope y'all have had a wonderful time, and thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, stay mysterious, my friend.